listen to some of these stories that you're hearing on these videos and from these people that have had spontaneous healing. It's brilliant. And anything is really possible. So for just today, for now, suspend your disbelief and enjoy. So emotional freedom technique, it actually was started by a doctor, a psychologist. His name was Dr. Roger Callahan in 1980. He was working with a client who had this incredible phobia about water. She was scared to death of water in any kind of form, a swimming pool. Totally freaked her out. Didn't have any clue why. She had been therapy hopping from one therapist to the other, trying to figure it out, and no results, no different outcome. She found Dr. Callahan. He worked with her for a year and a half and didn't really, a long time. So she had been doing this for years, from therapist to therapist. And after a year and a half of doing this work, he wasn't seeing any response or any kind of different results with her. So he was talking to her one day in the office, and she started to complain about stomach problems. And at the time, he was studying about the body's energy and how different energy meridians work in the body. And he remembered that right underneath the eye, right here, is the end of the meridian for the stomach, for the energy of the stomach. It's kind of similar to acupuncture, the meridians in acupuncture. So he started tapping underneath her eye, and instantly, she had an instant, reported, I wanted to read this because it's so great. To her astonishment, she announced immediately that her disturbing thoughts about water were gone, and she raced down to the nearby swimming pool and began throwing water on her face, and no fear, no headaches. It all went away, including the nightmares.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? It was almost instantaneous, and it never came back. And that's how the water phobia showed up for her. She would have these horrible nightmares, which would create these headaches and migraines throughout the day, and instantaneously had the healing, and it's never gone back. So one thing they talk a lot about in the EFT, their discovery statement, you'll hear this in the video, is the cause of all negative emotions is the disruption of the body's energy system. So it's very similar to acupuncture, only instead of needles, they do it with tapping. And they get a little bit into it. I'm going to actually run through this really quick, what this is going to look like before you see the video. And because they don't really get into the tapping part. But it really, all it is, there's tapping meridians. They do it here, on the side of the eye, under the eye. It goes down to the chin, above on the upper lip, and down to the chin. And then there's the collarbone right here, and then there's a meridian right here, and then it goes into the hands. You do a little bit here. Where's that camera? A little bit here. Then you skip a finger, go to here, and then a little bit over here, and that's it. And it's just an amazing process. It seems so simple, but by tapping, opening up those meridians and clearing that energy, everything gets cleared, and the emotions, free the emotions, emotion of freedom. So pretty cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I think of when you talk about that is I kind of go back to quantum physics, and I think about how, science has proven that everything is just moving energy. So a table, although it seems very solid, it just means that those particles are moving a little bit faster than something that's not as solid, like Jell-O. And all we are, while we seem like real fleshy bone, like we're solid beings, we're just energy in motion.
Exactly.
And so I'm sure there's thousands of ways to manipulate energy that we have not discovered yet. I mean, Edison worked a long time and got the light bulb, and that's just energy channeled in a certain way. So this is just fascinating to me to see.
And we are energy, yeah.
Right, we're just energy being channeled in a certain way. So whatever we can do to manipulate that energy to feel better, I'm like all for it. So let's see this clip, Mitch.
Yeah. And if anybody's wondering, energy, that seems a little bit weird. Am I really energy? What I'd like you to do is go to a carpet. Rub your foot on the carpet a little bit, and then go to touch something metal. That's electricity. And in order for you to feel that electricity and get that little bit of a shock, you have to be part of that. You have to have an electrical component about us. And our whole nervous system is electrical,
right,
sending electrical impulses. So we are definitely energy. And Brendy and I teach also that, some event happens in your life, we make up a story about it, and it creates some kind of an emotion.
Right.
Again, that energy in motion needs to be expressed in some way. Energy has to be expressed in some way. So I think it's really cool that a little bit of this and a little bit of that could clear that energy, free the emotion, and we can heal. It's that simple. Healing is that simple. How exciting is that? So let's get to that video now.
Pain was in every part of my body for many, many years. I stopped needing a doctor.
I I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. They cannot find any traces that it ever existed in my body.
I had over 80 allergies, and I was allergic to the world, basically. I am not allergic to anything. I can eat anything I want to. Shame issues,
Cravings, post-traumatic stress disorder.
EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's an emotional version of acupuncture, except we don't use needles. Instead, we address emotional issues. The emotional contributor to disease and ailments and physical things is far greater than the emphasis that's been given to it to date. All of us know intuitively that if we're carrying around angers and griefs and guilts and traumas, it shows up physically. If somebody is really angry, their stomach is tight, maybe the veins down out on their neck, their blood pressure goes up. Emotions cause physical things. Well, you keep that body a long period of time, now you're looking at diseases.
You know, in my own case, I got tired of giving medications which would just treat the symptoms and didn't really address what I thought was the underlying problem.
EFT, on the other hand, zeroes right in on it, and I think that's why we get results where nothing else will.
It's possible to clear emotional issues at a deep enough level that physical healing results.
Acupuncture relies on the fact that there are subtle energies that run throughout the body called meridians. If they're not flowing well, the body's health does not do well. And what I found was something just very stunning. If we stimulate these meridians, tapping on them with our fingertips, it tends to balance things out, and people that would have an intense emotional issue, it would just fade. Sometimes it would happen in minutes. Once you start taking care of these emotional issues and doing it correctly and really resolving them, physical things start to subside as well.
Immediately, I could control my pain levels.
I cannot think of one case it did not work on a migraine. My migraine was gone in 10 minutes.
I don't have diabetes anymore. I don't have to check my blood anymore. I gave my blood meter to my sister, whose cat has diabetes because he's overweight.
What we've really done is taken a very ancient, very well-established process, the ancient Chinese way of going about healing. We've dusted it off, and we've added an innovation or two, and this is the new forefront to me. We're on the ground floor of this new healing high-rise.
When I was 10 years old, I fell down a 25-foot hay chute. I landed in a sitting position on a concrete landing, compressing my spine. I underwent my first back operation in 1971, a second one in 1972, a third one in 1979, a fourth one in 1984, a fifth one in 1992, and a sixth in 2002. With each surgery, the pain just got worse. I lived in pain my entire life. I lived on Tylenol with codeine 4. I took them like candy. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which was another devastating blow, and my response to that was, God, how much can I take? I was totally wheelchair bound for 5 years. EFT brought me out of the wheelchair, put me on arm crutches, which my doctor said would never happen. Went from arm crutches to giving up Social Security disability and returning to work.
I see EFT cure things that are incurable all the time.
When it comes to the MS, I'm completely cured. It's gone. It's non-existent in my body. I'm 54 and I'm doing jumping jacks now.
I'm not saying by that we cure everything in a minute or two, and in a session or two, and so on, and some things take a lot longer than others, but we get astonishing results often.
So what we're going to do today is take a finger prick of blood from a few different people. We're going to take a look at it under a dark field microscope and actually look at what their live blood looks like. A person that's healthy, their live blood will look like a clean flowing river, and a sick person, clumping in just a murky swamp. Of those 6 people, 3 had blood picture that looked like there's some health issues that should be addressed. So we had those 3 people go through about 5 minutes of EFT.
This anger, all this resentment.
We drew their blood again, looked at it, and saw just total different blood pictures. No sign of clumping. I was speechless. When I could finally think again, I thought, I'm going to go home and just take my certificates, my degrees that took me years to get, and just tear them up and just, let's learn about this EFT.